All right, so this is Franchise Hockey Manager 6. This is the hockey game brought to you by the Out of the Park team. And it came out last fall. So the 7 hasn't come out yet. I think it's impacted by, the delay in the NHL season and everything that's going on. I don't think there's a set schedule out yet or a start date. So this is 6, which is now a year old, but still the most recent game. And I'm a pretty big hockey fan, honestly. For years, probably bigger hockey fan than baseball fan. But I haven't really checked this game out since Franchise Hockey Manager 1, which I played some, and, it was fine. It was just obvious that it was the first version of the game. And so I haven't revisited it since then, but I decided to download the game recently and mess around with it. These are just very initial first impressions. With Out of the Park baseball, like, it took hundreds of hours for me to get familiar with things, to know things, etc. So I don't really know what I'm talking about here with this game, but just wanted to go over some things that, as I've looked at it and kind of messed around with it, some things I really liked, some things I didn't like. Overall, it seems cool. It's important to keep in mind it's only the 6th version of the game. It's not going to be as slick as Out of the Park baseball, which has 21 versions now, right? As fun as that would be, as great as that would be, that's just not going to happen. So, but it does seem drastically improved from Franchise Hockey Manager 1, which I assumed would be the case because Out of the Park is a really good development team, and, I expected it to be better. So some things that are cool here. Let's go ahead. So you can see I just decided to take over the Caps just as the general manager. I didn't want to be the coach too, just for now, just for messing around. We'll see what happens. I might change that up at some point. So one thing that's cool is if you go to your lines here, and these are the lines that my coach set. And this is preseason, so I don't think my roster's set. But you can give every player a different role, which is super cool. So here's Ovechkin. As a perimeter shooter, he's a 20 on a scale of 1 to 20. And you can basically give him any role you want, which I think is really cool because teams will sometimes ask different things of different players, right? And you'll see players really thrive under one coach and not under another. And maybe it's what's being asked of them, what the system is, etc. Like Orlov here, if they want him to be a punishing defenseman or an agitator, he's not very good. But as a mobile defenseman, he's a 14. As a shutdown defenseman, he's a 14. Those are his best attributes. I'd say they nailed that. I think those are the two things he's best at. But anyway, so that's really cool in that you can kind of tell the guy how you want him to play, and it'll tell you how good he's going to be at that. And let's see, what else? So that's pretty cool. I like those lines a lot. The tactics are really interesting. I'm curious how much this affects like your results and how your team plays. I like a lot that you can tell, you can kind of dictate what lines get offensive and defensive zone face-off priority, which is a big thing in the NHL, as well as what lines you want to match up with. I would go strength on strength, first versus first, but my head coach doesn't agree. And then this is super cool. All these different tactical settings. So, and this is kind of, I'm leaving this to my coach for now because I just don't know the game well enough now. It's just pretty deep. So, your breakout, and say you want to go the through center breakout, it's going to tell you what this is, the strengths and weaknesses of this breakout are. So, reduces the chance of a giveaway during breakouts and makes it more likely that the puck carrier will skate the puck out rather than pass. So that kind of tells you your risk with this particular thing. And then it can tell you what players are good for this. Best used with a center with good skating and puck handling skills. So, if you want to build around your personnel, you just kind of try to find what breakouts suit your personnel, right? And you can even set it specific to the line. So you could go here, say Backstrom and Kuznetsov is out suspended because this is the start of the 2019 season. But say you had Backstrom and Kuznetsov and you wanted them to carry the puck, you could, on the breakout, you go through center, right? And then with your less talented centers, you want something more along the boards to your wingers. So you can set that tactic for each line, which is just crazy, the amount of depth, and then how they're going to do in the neutral zone, what they're going to do in the offensive zone, and then what they're going to do in the defensive zone, their forecheck, the neutral zone coverage on defense. I don't know. I think that's super cool. I'm really impressed with that. I'm interested if it's just, I haven't played it enough and I don't really know how exactly I'd tell, but is it just kind of like for show or does this actually affect your results a lot? Because I just think that's really cool. Another thing that I thought was really neat was the scouting. I haven't messed around with it too much, but just the fact that my team this is my scouts as the caps. The fact that my team has this many scouts automatically makes an improvement out of the park. The out of the park, or this baseball game. You just have one scout, and it's kind of been pretty similar for years. They changed it some this year and improved it, but I love the fact that you have all these scouts and you can give them geographical or player assignments, I think, as far as what I've determined. And again, this seems a little overwhelming for just having started the game, so I'd probably go here and I'd just say, have the AI do it for me. And now all these guys have regions that they're going to, or leagues that they're going to be scouting, and the amount of time they're doing that. For some reason, I don't have anybody scouting in Europe. Oh, Nordic Europe. There we go. Cool. So that's pretty cool. I don't know how this actually works in reality, but the setup of it here, I really like a lot more than the out of the park baseball scouting setup. So that's pretty cool. Training also seems interesting in that you can see I've checked some things here, right? Like you got mental, physical, offensive, defensive, and then just for goalies, you have goalie training. And say you want to set up some players to work on their offense, right? You got Orlov is a 12 on offense, Siegenthaler's an 11, and the 15 in parentheses, I think, is like how much they're going to get out of that training, I think. And it all has to do, and I could be wrong about that, but I think that's the gist. But it all has to do with how good your coaching staff is at training at those things, and then how many players you have focus on it, right? So right now it's a 15. Say I add Kempney to that, everybody drops to a 12. I take him off, everybody's back up to a 15. And then I take Orlov off and see the number in parentheses for the guys I've checked is now 20. So you can decide how many guys you want to focus on, and you can get coaching staffs that are better at training things so they can train more players at a higher level. I think that's pretty cool. There's really nothing, like that in out of the park baseball in terms of training. So I think that's pretty cool. If they could implement something like this in the baseball game where you could work on tell a pitcher to work on a third pitch or, work on his movement or tell a player to work on their launch angle, etc. I think they should work something like this in the baseball because I think this seems really cool. So the scouting is cool. The training is cool. Like I said, I haven't played around on this a ton yet, but one thing that I didn't like was some stuff with the trade layout screen. So say I'm going to make a trade with the Ducks, right? And here's the Capitals players. Just split this screen and give me the Ducks and the Caps all at once like it is in the baseball game. But instead, I got to go to the Ducks players here and say I want to, let's just do a sample trade here, right? I don't know. Doesn't really matter who I'm going to pick. Let's pick Cam Fowler. So I can't drag and drop him, which is kind of annoying. So I right-click and then go to Add Player. And then I go to this menu, which just should be a split screen, and I'm going to add a Capitals player, and I'm going to choose Tom Wilson for this exercise for a reason. And your scout tells you what they think. So here's the things I don't like, right? So Tom Wilson, and again, if there's a way to display what I'm saying isn't here, please somebody tell me, because like I said, I've spent maybe an hour messing around this game. So Tom Wilson says his contract is 5 years, $4.5 million. Tell me okay, that's his cap hit. Is it though? No, it's not. That's his salary this year. His cap hit, you can see down here, is $5.166 million. So come on. How can you not have the cap hit here on the main screen? I got to click on each player to figure out their cap hit. And then I just have to be missing something on this next part too, because I can't imagine there's nowhere here where it tells me what this trade does to my salary cap. Do I just have to kind of figure that out on my own, do the math, go to the salary cap page, click on each player, figure out their cap hit, because this isn't their cap hit necessarily. So, I don't know. I'm figuring maybe I have this wrong, because it would seem pretty crazy that the trade screen, one, doesn't display the player's cap hit, and two, the proposed trade doesn't tell you what it would do to your cap. That's you have to have that information. And to do that manually is just crazy. So that's the main thing. It's just all these things on the trade screen that I don't like. We'll see about the rest of it as I go through the game if there are other things like that. But that seems weird to me. And, I'm hoping that maybe it isn't that elementary of a and lacking of a trade screen, and that I'm just missing something, and there's a way to display it differently. So I'd love for somebody to correct me if I'm wrong about that. One thing that's cool, let's go to Ovechkin here, is you can go to the season stats. All right, I don't need that there. And it has advanced stats. So it has the Corsi for and against, percentage, relative. Same thing with Fenwick. I guess, oh, this is their individual shooting. Oh, wow. Individual shooting percentage, zone start percentage, their PDO. So I'm pretty into the geeky stats with hockey. And so that's awesome. I wonder how much they actually matter. Like, does the engine actually use them to kind of project or, future results or anything? I don't know. That would be interesting to know. I don't know if there's necessarily a way to know that. Maybe somebody's looked at it. But so that's just my first impressions of the franchise hockey manager game, just kind of getting started, setting up a team. I might, for fun, just do a caps sim where I'm pretty hands off and just do the GM stuff and try to get Alex Ovechkin another cup. But I'm not going to do it as in depth as the baseball games just because I don't know this game well enough, and I'll kind of be learning. But yeah, that's where. Oh, actually, let's look at this team chemistry. I hadn't looked at this. Oh, this is set up exactly like the baseball game. That's cool. I like that. My job security. Okay, cool. News, team data. Okay, it's just kind of like team history. Oh, here's all my draft picks coming up. Okay, cool. So, and the rivalries are apparently something that's new this year. I've not really looked at the significance of it yet. But anyways, so that's my first impressions of franchise Hockey Manager 6. It's, it seems obviously much improved over the first version that I played. I haven't gotten into like making trades and the waivers and all that. That stuff needed a lot of work in the first version. I'm sure it's better. But overall, just that trade display screen kind of sucks. Otherwise, it seems fun, and I'm sure it'll be worth the $20 or whatever it is on sale right now. But maybe I'll post some more videos with this. I'm not really sure, but basically I have no idea what I'm doing. So that's all.